好，紧接着呢，要来到呢我们今天第一场的大会主题演讲。我们今天的 Keynote 大会主题演讲会使用 Wordly AI 即时翻译，荧幕上将会出现中文字幕来提供给各位来宾参考。Today's keynote speech uses Wordly AI for real-time translation. You'll see bilingual subtitles in Chinese and English to help all our guests to follow along. So we would like now to begin our first keynote speech today. Let's welcome Mr. Joris Bruinen, the General Director of Security Delta HSD Foundation, to give his presentation. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm really honored to be here. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you on the 10th years anniversary of this CyberSec. It's a really great conference, seeing so many people out there who are defending our countries and our world. So congratulations on that first. In contradiction to many people in the field of cybersecurity, I'm not bringing fear. I'm protecting hope, I'm building on trust, and I'm preaching collaboration. So protecting hope, building on trust, and preaching collaborations. We live in a highly digitalized world. And we as the people, we are hyper-connected. And this brings us many economic opportunities. It brings us wealth. But also, it brings in risk. And we need to deal with this. So we need to make our world, our countries, our critical infrastructure and our business more cyber resilient. The picture shows Europe, Paris, last year, New Year's Eve. It was the countdown until 12. The interesting thing, what happened, is after 12, people were not embracing each other, not kissing, saying Happy New Year's. No, they continued filming because the fireworks started. They wanted to show this probably to their family, friends, to the world. They will put it up on social media, on the internet, into the cloud, and into our data centers. And as this is the case for people, so it is nowadays more and more for our data within our business environments. There's growing use of AI. Even today, we use AI in this conference. There's more and more cloud solutions, and we're connecting, and not for a reason, anything to the internet. And as said, we have to work on the opportunities from an economic point of view, but also tackle the risk related to it. Today here on stage, I will tell you something about cyber threat developments in the Netherlands, my country. I will give you some of the answers related to this threat from the EU and the Netherlands, the cyber strategies, the setting up of government bodies, on actions, on putting new legislation into action, taking actions also in public-private partnerships. Tell you something about my own organization, the Security Delta. I will give you an example in how we work on sectoral cyber resilience centers. And then I will end off at the end of this presentation with the international alignments between our countries in the field of cybersecurity. But let's first take a look into the threat developments in the Netherlands. In 2020, ENISA, the European Cybersecurity Agency, put down these 15 top cybersecurity risks. Most of them defined as individual technological threats. But in the years to come, we saw combinations. So we saw number 1, malware, and number 13, ransomware. Still mostly started with phishing attacks, number 3, combined, coming together, and forming the number 1 threat in our country. Next to CEO fraud, which is the most economic damaging in our country. Let's take a deeper look into the cyber incidents that were really game changers in the Netherlands. In 2017, we had the NotPetya attack. It was probably Russia attacking the energy grid in the Ukraine. But as an effect of the company Maersk with their APM terminals in the Rotterdam harbor got attacked. And for 2 weeks, 1/3 of the harbor of Rotterdam was down. There were no container shipping possible. So that was a really game changer, going from cyber incident into our physical world. Secondly, ASML, probably known by all of you, the Dutch manufacturer of the chips machine. It gets attacked all the time, but at one time they had probably a combination of a cyber attack and insider threat. And there was a possible loss of knowledge, maybe even some pieces of critical IP. So there was a game changer as well. But it was both corporate, big multinationals got hit. But the third game changer in the Netherlands was the company called VDL. They got a ransomware attack in 2020-21. It's a family-owned manufacturing company related in a chain with many other companies around it. And why was it a game changer? This was the first time when it was not a big listed multinational. No, it was a family-owned company, family pride, Dutch pride. And this was a game changer for many entrepreneurs and small and medium enterprises, because they realized that it was not only attacks on the big ones, it was also coming to the small ones. Then the fourth, you probably all know it, Log4j. This software vulnerability, in my opinion, a sugar-like software piece. Sugar is in every food, so it's all out there. And it was the same case for Log4j, a really small piece of open source software, but it was related in many other software parts. And we didn't even know where it was out there, so we had to search for it. So it was a cyber crisis in many organizations. So this was a big game changer as well. And then the last one, it's maybe a small name, even I didn't know the company, but it's called Bakker Logistics. They got attacked also by a ransomware, but it had many consequences in the chain. And we as the Dutch, we thought it was a game changer because there was no cheese in our supermarket. So help, no cheese. So these were really game changers for multinationals, going to small and medium enterprises, but also serious damage related to us as people. We should expect the unexpected. That's what our national government says. Because it's increasing really fast. Because of geopolitical hardening, the attacks increased. There are even state-related attacks. It still remains an attractive criminal business model. The ransomware payments in 2023 were the highest ever, and it surpassed the 1 billion mark, the highest number ever observed. And it was an increase of 84% in comparison with 2022. And it will triple towards 2030, experts say. And of course, we have all new threats, some of them related to new technologies. The attack surface increases not only in the IT but also in the OT environment. And also AI brings in new opportunities but also risk. A CISO of a big corporate from the Netherlands says he even got 80 serious vulnerabilities a day. In comparison with the 5 years before, it was only 10 to mostly 15. And of course, also AI is abused by the criminals. Towards 2030, ENISA says, and you see the big change with 2020, individual defined, you see the more complex threats coming up. You see supply chain compromise of software, digital physical cybersecurity crisis, the rise of hybrid and advanced threats, OT security attacks, abuse of AI, and a really important new one, skills shortage. So the conclusion is emerging and more complex threats. And the big question is, how do we deal with it? What's the answer to these threats? First of all, in the strategies in 2012 was the first strategy in the Netherlands. We did set up government bodies. So in the Netherlands Cybersecurity Center was set up, and they had a focus on the ministries and the critical infrastructure in the Netherlands. About 350 organizations were under their focus. But you all know, only 350, and I just told you about the increase and the game changers in the Netherlands. It was not enough. So in 2018, the government recognized that they should help the small and medium enterprises as well. So they did set up the organization called Digital Trust Center, trying to help out the small and medium enterprises and sectoral chain initiatives. And also at European level, the already mentioned ENISA agency was set up. Of course, those organizations, they put things into action. They did research, threat analysis, together with the 350 organizations, and they organized public-private partnerships in ISACs. Trusted environments where they could tell each other what was going on and share information to be more aware and to be ahead of the serious threats and work on them if it happened. So also in the case of the incident, the National Cybersecurity Center got into action as well to tell the public and to help the businesses that had the problems. They did set up awareness campaigns. Around the Netherlands, we had the Alert Online campaign. It was every year with a different focus. So 1 year on elderly people, next year on youngsters, and next year on small, medium enterprises. Also, we have in Europe the European Cybersecurity Month, and within that, in the Netherlands, in The Hague, we have the Cybersecurity Week with lots of events and campaign-like things around it. Also trying to find the public media to inform us all. And at that time in the strategies, the responsibility was defined. And I call it myself a paradox, because it was defined that saying that every organization themselves are responsible for their cybersecurity resilience. But in the end, and that's the paradox, if anyone is responsible, maybe nobody is accountable. Therefore, most of the times the answers from governments is also setting up legislation. At the EU level, in this digital age, they came up with many legislations in the last 10 years. Probably known by you is the privacy legislation, the GDPR, which even set an international standard. But also, recently, on the Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act came into regulation and also new regulation on AI. But let's not stand too long still with all the legislation in the digital field. It's good to know that's out there, but let's focus on cybersecurity regulation. Over the years, you see here the bodies and you see the development of the cybersecurity legislations. And what I like most about the new EU regulations for cybersecurity, it's not merely viewing them through a compliance lens, like the GDPR did, but also recognizing their impact on shaping the role of the public sector in supervising, hence safeguarding, our national and digital security. If we dive a bit deeper into the cybersecurity legislation, you see the coming up of NIS2. We already had NIS1, that was the critical infrastructure, so it was narrowly defined as the body in the Netherlands I just talked about. It was, for example, the government, the banks, the energy sector, etc. But then with NIS2 coming in, and it will be there at the end of this year, it's not defined narrow, but broader. And it's from critical going to essential. So about 6,000 organizations, also in food, logistics, and high-tech, will be part and falling under this legislation. And content-wise, what really different is one thing. For the first time, the board is responsible. So it's not the IT department. It's not them. It's not the CISO. No, it's the board who will be responsible and accountable. And it will be set up of bodies also to really go into the regulations. So there's liability and even fines. If you don't report in time, so no incident reporting in time, or if you have not done enough. And also, as said, it's not only about the own organization, but the boards will be responsible also for the whole supply chain. So the chain of companies they collaborate with. Then we have the DORA. DORA is even more tight as a legislation. It's for the financial services providers, entities, and ICT providers. And how come there's more risk related to it if it comes to cybersecurity? So more risk, more responsibilities. So this is on the organizational side. But also, you know, we need to make our products and services more secure, secure by design. So also the Cybersecurity Act came into place. And at last, the Cyber Resilience Act that goes for security requirements with digital elements. So the routers and firewalls, but also physical cyber systems and IoT products. So the providers of these products and services are getting responsible under this legislation. The underlying principle of these cyber regulations is risk management. And I think this is a good one. Because if board is responsible, it's not just about IT and cybersecurity. No, it's about risk. And the thing is, I said, you need to do enough. And what is enough? First of all, you need to understand the things we just talked about, and probably most of you know. And you need to prove that you're working on. And a really important thing is the cyber hygiene. Last week, someone at the RSA conference in San Francisco said it was a state official from the United States government, and he said, well, if you have your cyber hygiene into place, probably 95% of all the problems will pass by. So that's a really important one. And it's not only writing things down, it's also plan, do, act, and evaluate. Let's take this from this serious part about all the threats and the legislation development to a topic more to my heart, the public-private partnership and the setting up of the ecosystem. Picture this. 12 years ago, I was the direct advisor of the mayor of The Hague. I don't know if you know the city of The Hague, but already for decades known as the international city of peace and justice. And we adjusted security to it. So peace, justice, and security. So we build on this DNA of the city of The Hague, but also the Netherlands as a secure digital gateway to Europe. So we built the ecosystem with all these building blocks in the coming years ahead. My organization is called the Dutch Security Cluster, HSD. The H was for The Hague or Holland. And we are a community of about 300 partners. Businesses, both corporates, innovative small, medium enterprises, startups and scale-ups, knowledge institutes and governments, working together in what we call the triple helix of them and creating more and helping each other on this challenging topic of cybersecurity. We are a not-for-profit organization, in the end founded in 2013, and we have a physical meeting place in The Hague. And we have a double aim. We closely work together and innovate together in making the Netherlands more digital secure, maybe even help the world to get their cyber resilience into place. And as a spin-off, we create economic value, growth of jobs in the Netherlands, in the province of South Holland, and in the city of The Hague. These are some of the logos, and there are even some Taiwanese logos who did set up an office in the Netherlands. I'll come back to that a little later. So this is logos from universities, from businesses, and from government institutes. This is my team. It's a small team, but we work in close collaboration with many government organizations that have a task in either security or economic development. And what we do is we accelerate the collaboration between the partners. We make sure that we share the knowledge and that we work on innovations. The value for our partners, our value proposition is that we provide access to knowledge. As the base of innovation, set up consortia, provide them access to finance or co-finance these projects. Then we provide access to capital for those startups and scale-ups that are able to grow and go to the international markets. And we align there the venture capitalists and funds with the starts and scale-ups. Then we help them to go to the international market, as we did last week with a large delegation to the RSA, and with a small delegation now this week here in Taiwan. And lastly, if we talk about growth and knowledge and innovation, we talk about people. So we provide access to talent, to bridge the talent gap as well. And we have a physical meeting place to come together where we work on local buzz, as you do today, the local buzz, the energy, getting to know the people and working with the people, and creating global pipelines. We work within digital security on 3 themes. It's about cybersecurity and resilience, data and AI, and about smart, secure societies, where we combine data and new innovative techniques to public order. This is our method. I won't go into all the details, but we research and think, what's the problem? Is there already an answer? Are there products out there? Or do we need innovation or new knowledge? Then we set up the consortia, we operate them, and in the end, we make sure that the outcomes will be really adjusted and enhanced. So it makes a difference for societal benefits and possibly also with the businesses to grow for economic opportunities. And let's go shortly into the example of our sectoral approach. The agriculture in the province, where The Hague is also, and in the Netherlands is quite a big business. And it changed over the years, from the horse and cars to a really innovative sector. It's really supply chain, so it's seed and fertilizers, it's the manufacturers of all the glass houses and all the techniques and IT and OT in there. It's about the growers, it's about the marketplaces, it's about the retail, from logistic helping it in the end to us, the consumer. And we have learned some lessons by setting up these centers. And we really think we need to collaborate. So we started with these partners. And there are some businesses in there, some government institutes. And we said, well, if you, the people from this sector, and the people in the sector believe and trust, and us, the HSD, who has the knowledge and the people and know the people, and if we bring them together, we can make a difference. So you have to go maybe a little bit slower, but go together. Then we figured out that it was not only about IT, especially in the innovative horticulture, with the glass houses, with all the stuff, for example, the climate computers, for the heating system in the glass houses. It's really important to also work on that. I don't have to tell you, it's not only about the techniques, it's about the operation, the processes and strategies, and also about the people and make them aware. Then we should bring in cybersecurity as a security by design if we talk about digitalization. We have to celebrate, because sometimes that is good, and we have to communicate, because if it's only the 9 logos showed before, then nobody knows. So we were talking in the Netherlands, but now also here in Taiwan and around the world, what we did. And we created not only awareness, but really worked on enhancing digital technologies and making sure that all the businesses involved need to know what to do. And we worked on things. So I'm not going into detail, I can tell you later on, or you can look at the website, but we really did things. Zero measurements to know where you are, what maturity level you have, but then really helping them to make sure that their organizations and the chains were more cyber resilient. We figured out that we can go from one sector to another sector, because 80% is the same in cybersecurity, but 20% is different. So you see change of the colors when we went to the manufacturing sector in the Netherlands. And we start again first in South Holland and then scale up at national level. It's also a big chain in the industry. So also there we have to make sure that it's not only the individual businesses, but that the whole chain will come on a higher level of cyber resilience. You see some of the same things, and we will roll this out to the next sector, life science and health. And then we scale on national level with the National Cybersecurity Center, with the critical infrastructures they already worked on for the last 5 years. And then going to the last thing, the international alignment between our countries. We go back more than 400 years between Taiwan and the Netherlands in our collaboration. And we can also bring the collaboration from the high-tech sector to cybersecurity. And we already did for the last couple of years. So there were delegations coming over to The Hague. We exchanged knowledge with MODA, with E3. And we are here now with also some Dutch companies. We also help because foreign direct investment, both in your country as Taiwanese companies coming to the Netherlands, can also make sure that we secure our countries and that there will be economic benefits. So there are already some examples. Last night, we had a really nice dinner with the CEO and the people of Kipasco, because they set up their office in the Netherlands to penetrate into the European market. And that way, we make it mutually beneficial. And then I will come to my closing statement. In the end, I really believe that we can do and work on making our businesses, government agencies, and our countries more cyber resilient. I have good faith that we would be ahead in the cat and mouse game with the cyber criminals and with the threats. But to do so, we need to build more public-private partnership and international alignments. And let's do that between our countries, because only together we can secure the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bruinen, for your wonderful speech. Thank you.